Hey, Mars here, man with the big pen and the even bigger mouth, and welcome to today's episode of Draw the Line. Today I wanted to talk to you about the recent Twitter shitstorm stirred up by Black Lives Matter, about President Trump. And I'll draw, as I talk. And if you're listening, you can, and you can't see the drawing, you can actually watch the drawing by heading over to my Draw the Line Mars YouTube channel. So here's the deal. Get this: the Twitter account associated with Black Lives Matter deleted a poll that they created about President Trump's performance. Why, you may ask? Well, the results of the poll came back way in the president's favor. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. All right, let me get a little tail light action here. Okay, those are looking pretty good. Anyway, the poll got left up for like 5 days, and I think basically it basically asked if Twitter users approved or disapproved of the president's job performance, and people overwhelmingly voted in favor of the president, like 67% for, and I think like 20% against. Oops, AF, BLM, come on, Nat, come on, what the? So naturally, the poll going in Trump's favor prompted Black Lives Matter to delete the tweet. Delete the tweet. That's a, yeah. That maybe that could be their new their new BLM protest chant. If your narrative gets beat, you must delete the tweet. Anyway, Twitter user Red Nation Rising retweeted the poll, and then President Trump ended up retweeting it too. And oh, the hilarity, the absolute unadulterated hilarity. Just funnier. Funnier than but just about anything I could think of. Almost immediately, the poll got taken down. Black Lives Matter put up another poll with a disclaimer that since the president had bragged about the results of the first poll, they were going to try this again. And of course, a lot of people on Twitter called BS on BLM's decision to remove the poll. They were saying stuff like, no surprise, Black Lives Matter can't handle the truth. The masses support Trump. We reject Black Lives Matter. That kind of stuff, right? So they got called pretty much every kind of liar in the book, and it turned into a total Twitter shitstorm. Let me add some little Twitter birdies here. There's a little beak, a little beak action. A little happy Twitter bird here, sitting up here on this little wire. The whole thing really was kind of like some little Twitter birdies taking a giant Twitter blue dump all over the Black Lives Matter mobile, which is the subject of today's drawing. And my personal take is that if Black Lives Matter is going to hate on the president by doing a poll, because, they want to make a point, they might want to be careful, test the waters a little bit first. I don't know, something like that. And to me, it's like any hater on the left, they just cannot accept the fact that a lot of average Americans actually like Donald Trump. I mean, I'm not some huge Trump supporter, but I am a supporter of my country not shooting itself in the foot constantly and looking for ways to undermine the guy at the helm. Know what I mean? Here's what I mean, okay? How arrogant and blinded by the mainstream media and the limousine liberal coalition does somebody have to be to believe that an average American, okay, or most Americans, have bought into this crazy-ass narrative? They seem to think that everybody sees Donald Trump as some sort of Nazi, racist dictator that somehow got his way into the presidency because he appealed to a tiny percentage of upper-class white nationalists. But there's a big problem with that. It's called math, right? I mean, this tongue. Oh, God. I love what I do. Here's what I mean, okay? That group of people is called the 1% for a reason, because it's like freaking 1% of people. That is not enough to get a guy in the Oval Office. Sorry! The fact is, Trump received the highest percentage of black and Latino vote of any Republican in a long, long time. And yet somehow, we're supposed to believe that he only got in because this tiny group of rich white men voted for him. What about women? What about all the minorities? I mean, for BLM to throw out a second poll specifically to contradict the first poll, that was so hilarious that I literally sat there laughing so hard I nearly peed my pants when I heard about it. Mainly because this kind of pattern seems to be the norm for groups like this now in the media, right? I mean, it's like if they don't get the result that reinforces their narrative, what do with it? They try to bury it and find some other thing to smear them with, or just flat out make something up. So I guess after like 5 days of the poll being up and it showing that a high percentage of people said that they really thought Trump was doing a great job, they were like, damn, this ain't going the way we wanted it to go. Let's go ahead and bury that one. And, we don't want people seeing that, right? Kind of like, how they lost the election. It was like, okay, that wasn't the result we were looking for, so let's come up with some excuse. The Russians rigged the election. Trump and his rhetoric. He's preaching hate, and these people love hate, and so therefore that's why they voted for him. Come on. And what I think they may not realize is that a lot of folks didn't even like Trump until all that nonsense started happening. Like nonstop 24-hour news cycle. Trump is evil. Trump is colluding with the Russians. Trump throws paper towels. Trump feeds fish. Trump drinks water. Not once, but twice. So they're basically causing people like me anyways, to like Trump a lot more than I otherwise might. I don't know. Maybe take a poll from real people. Just a thought here. Just a thought. Maybe not these special interest groups and then try to falsify numbers to say, according to polls, Donald Trump's approval rating is at 0.1%. Now he's in the negative! Right? I mean, I'm like, where are you guys taking these polls? Because nobody ever came and knocked on my damn door and said like, hey man, how you think Donald Trump's doing? And it just cracks me up, freaking cracks me up, that the way they focus only on polls that support their narrative. It's just totally the polls that support their narrative is what they focus on. And when one doesn't, of course, they bury it or they're shocked and appalled, like this Black Lives Twitter poll, right? I mean, the big problem with that is it does not support the Black Lives Matter narrative, okay? This is the BLM narrative mobile right here. BL and M narrative mobile. All right, they're scooting around town here in this bad buggy, and shit. Now I gotta spell narrative. N is it N? Then A, and then two R's, right? Oh boy, if I get this wrong, you guys are gonna narrative. Yeah, two R's. NARR. And then, is it narrative? Yeah, like narrate. Yeah, okay, narrative. Anyways, back to the point. When it comes to this Black Lives Matter Twitter poll, it's like they just can't believe that the poll was actually right. That maybe a lot of people actually want Trump in office because they're sick and tired of business as usual in D.C. Nope. It's got to be because a group of racists just, didn't actually take the poll, and then surprise on election day, not my president! Not my president! A lot of people should wake the F up and say, isn't it peculiar that the system of people who've been in politics all their lives, even people in his own party, seem to hate this guy so much? Is it just because he's obnoxious? Is it because he's got a big ego and an even bigger head of hair? Or whatever that is? Or could it be something a little bit deeper? Could it be that he doesn't play by their rules? Could it be that he's not one of them? Could it be that he's actually saying, I am going to stand up for America first, regardless of how politically incorrect you may think it is, CNN? Could it be that they can't control what he says, how he thinks, and what he does? Could it be that he's actually in tune with what a lot of Americans think and feel, and that he has the big orange kahunas enough to actually say it in public? Just like his opinion about the NFL, right? Think about it, okay? The national anthem thing. Some people were like, oh my God, I can't believe that he said this. How horrible. He's a beast. He's a beast. And a lot more people said, well, actually, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I'm glad he said it. Because if I had said it at work, they'd have fired my ass and called me a racist. You know what I'm saying? Here's what I'm saying. Could it be that Donald Trump is an asshole-ish billionaire with a major case of narcissistic personality disorder, but one who is a true American patriot that actually loves his country? Wouldn't that be strange? Shh. Here's a little secret. I'll let you in on it. I think that's what the people who support President Trump see when they look at him. Otherwise, why would a billionaire who could pretty much do anything he wants in the world without all the stress make the decision to dedicate the final years of his life to doing something where he's being crapped on and attacked by every liberal sicko and their brother or sister, or insert, relational gender pronoun here? Why would he do that if not because he actually cares about this country? And that right there is why the mainstream media is going to continue to get the polls wrong. See, they're forgetting about the silent majority. And they keep on doing it. They're forgetting that not everybody in America is like them. Not everybody thinks everything has to be about racism. Not everybody wants to put a whole country at risk, our entire country, because we want to look good for the New World Order, right? Not everybody wants to let non-stop refugees flood into the country without vetting them. Not everybody wants an open border where people can kind of scamper back and forth to Mexico unchecked. And just because you may be a part of that not everybody, that does not make you a racist, okay? It does not make you xenophobic. It does not mean you're a closet Nazi. And when Donald Trump speaks out about those things, a lot of people feel the same way. So why are they trying to make people feel like that's pretty much their fault for believing in something that's common sense and for wanting to make something that's common sense seem wrong? I'm going to add some color here now. Why is it somehow wrong to want to keep jobs here in America, or to think that we should stand for the national anthem? Why is it wrong to be proud of America, to honor our veterans, and buy American and sell American? Why is the mainstream media, why have they almost become anti-American? And why is it that every time Donald Trump brings up one of these things, you hear the media and the limousine liberal coalition, Hillary, Barack, and Michelle, the Hollywood elites, berating him for it? And every time they do, it becomes painfully obvious that there is a much, much bigger agenda. They don't care about people. They care about lining their pocketbooks. They care about their own power position. They care about politics as usual. And even if something he says actually makes a lot of basic sense, if it comes out of Donald Trump's mouth, they'll find a way to make it seem like he's got some ugly, underhanded motive. He only said that because he's got a hidden agenda. He's evil incarnate. Well, while the rest of us are sitting here like, no, it sounded to me like he said it because it's a smart decision, and I was thinking it was smart too. And yet still, somehow CNN and MSNBC and late-night Hollywood talk show hosts try to make everyone feel like there's something sinister about it. And they want me to feel like I'm a bad person for thinking that basic common sense stuff is right. So before you buy into the next bit of anti-Trump rhetoric, I want you to stop and ask yourself something. When a large group of people seems to be against something that they're trying to get you to jump in on with them, and they're using pressure and guilt and even violence to do it, how should you respond to that? We all learned this as kids, right? I don't know about you, but my mama would punish us once for doing something wrong when we were kids. And she'd punish us twice if we followed somebody else into it. She'd say, I'm not raising a bunch of followers here. At least think for your own damn self. If you're going to get into trouble, get into your own trouble. And that stuck with me. All these years, that stuck with me. So ask yourself, am I thinking for myself, or am I following with the sheep? And why is Donald Trump, a septuagenarian billionaire who could do anything he wants in the world, why the heck is he spending his last days putting up with people on all sides trying to burn him alive? And maybe, just maybe, when something like this Black Lives Matter poll gets put up and then suddenly taken down because it shits all over the narrative that they want to drive into us, when something like that happens, how about if we stand up and cheer along with our president and we say something like, yeah, you're kind of an asshole sometimes, but I see where your very tiny, somewhat Grinch-like heart is really at. Keep it up, Donald J. Keep it up. And that's about all for me today, folks. Be sure to click like or dislike if I pissed you off. Subscribe to my channel because, I want to be able to keep doing this stuff for you. And that's about it for me. Peace out. I'll see you in the comments. And, yeah, I generally do try to respond. Later.